Hello, folks. Dustin Zarni here. Welcome back to Commissioner in a Car. We are 3 weeks out from the general election. Actually, a little less than 3 weeks, because yesterday was actually 3 weeks out from the general election. And I had a 1 week hiatus, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to bring back the Commissioner in a Car so you can get everything you need to participate in this November's general election. It's a very important election, and I hope that, we got a little sideshow going down the street here, but I'm leaving the Board of Elections office for the night, so I thought I'd take a few minutes to put up this podcast. And remember, a couple weeks ago I said that pretty much stripping down my content to just this Commissioner in a Car, but I missed last week. And I'll be doing these on Wednesdays for the next 3 Wednesdays. And then tonight, next Wednesday, and the Wednesday after that. And then I'll try to do one the Monday before the election, just to talk about all the things that are going on with this election, going on. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 Wednesdays. Yeah, I don't know. You'll see. I think it'll be 4 more Commissioner in a Cars right before the election day, depending on how busy things get. So I'm going to talk about what you need to know to participate in the upcoming election, but I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Obviously, last week was a tough week for the Board of Elections, tough week for me, tough week for the staff, but it was also a good week, because the thing that I'm going to focus on is that we're caught up at the board. There was a lot of controversy about how far we had gotten behind, and a lot of press coverage on that, and I'm going to let the press coverage speak for itself. What I'm going to say is I want to thank the people who came to help, the 9 people from the New York State Board, all of our staff, and some of our seasonal staff that we brought in over the last 4 to 6 weeks to get this job done. We have added over 9,000 registered voters in the last 6 weeks. That's amazing. I didn't get to run the numbers, but since August 12th, I think we've processed more voter registrations and more vote-by-mail ballots requests than we had in previous years, in the whole year time period. So, and the reason I focus on August 12th is that's when we went live with our new voter registration system, and we had a 3-week hiatus before that we were switching over to voter reg. So that's the date I focus on how much work we were able to get done, because there was 3 weeks where we couldn't get work done as the conversion was being done. I'm not going to say much more about that. I believe I've addressed it. I've addressed it in several media, appearances the last Friday after we got caught up. I've addressed it, with the staff. I've addressed it, with people who need to know and people who understand, and of course the New York State Board. I hold no ill will. We're all working towards the same goal, which is trying to make sure the voters of Onondaga County are serviced and proper for this November election. And we're moving forward. We're on what's called daily processing. That means we are, if a absentee ballot request comes in, or a voter registration request comes in, or a ballot is returned, those are all addressed within a 24-hour period. And we've been doing that since last Thursday, and we'll continue to do that. We have the proper temporary staff in place. We have the proper, seasonal help coming in to help us, because we're not just dealing with all those forms, which are still coming in, by the way. We're still doing about 1,000 registration changes a day and about 400 or so absentee ballots a day. But we also got to prepare for the election, right? Today we started programming our electronic poll books for the general election. We've been doing testing on all of those for the last week. We did pre-lat testing for all of our voting machines a couple weeks before that. Testing is extensive, and it's been done with bipartisan hands, on deck, and lots of double checks and triple checks to make sure that this election runs as perfect as possible. And that's something we do every year. It's not just this year. It's not just a presidential year. So we have a lot of steps in place, and I believe we're really cooking right now and hitting with all cylinders. And despite the backlog that happened, we are in the best shape that we've been in going 3 weeks into an election that I can remember, especially a presidential election. So, what do you need to know? Well, as I said, 20 days now until Tuesday, November 5th, and the general election. There are so many important races on the ballot. Yes, president's on the ballot. Yes, Senate's on the ballot in New York. But you have a congressional race here in Onondaga County and this New York 22, which is the top-rated congressional race in the country. We have 2 Senate races that are contested. It's SD 48, Rachel May running for re-election. SD 50, an open seat. John Mannion left to run for Congress, and he's our Democratic nominee for Congress. But Chris Ryan is running for SD 50 in a very tough race. And Onondaga County Family Court as well. These are all important races that Democrats all throughout Onondaga County can vote for. And then we also have some town races that have competitive races in it too. Van Buren, Onondaga, Manlius, Clay, Van Buren. All of those towns have 2 fill vacancy spots open this year that Democrats have run people in against Republicans, so making competitive elections. And of course, we have our assembly races, and one of the top flippable districts in the state. Ian Phillips is running for the 126, and of course Pam Hunter, Bill Magnarelli, and Al Sturpey are all running for re-election. And the only one who's not opposed there is Bill Magnarelli. He's probably got the easiest race this year. So what do you need to know to talk about this year's elections? Well, if you want to vote by mail, time is running out, but you still have time. Early vote by mail and absentee ballot portal is still open on our website, onvote.net. You have until October 26th to request a ballot and be guaranteed that we will put it in the mail to you. And that portal shuts down at midnight on October 26th. So it even becomes harder to apply for absentee and early vote by mail ballots. So we will, but you can still get an early vote by mail or absentee ballot in person at the Board of Elections all the way till November 4th. Early voting starts October 26th. That runs for 9 days. We have 10 early voting sites throughout Onondaga County. So if you want to vote in person, but you don't want to wait till Election Day, you can do early voting. Next week's show will be all about early voting, so I'll save it until then. We'll go over all of that next week. By the way, early vote by mail and absentees have been bonkers. We're over 27,000 ballots that we have sent out. That is double the last non-pandemic record. Well, not double yet. It's going to be close to double soon. We sent out about 16,000 in 2016 of absentee ballots because there was no early vote by mail back then. And by the way, we've already got almost 9,000 of those ballots back. So good job, Onondaga County, for you people that wanted to get this over with. The rest of you, the other 2/3 of you, you got time to get it back, but it's got to be postmarked by November 5th. So make sure that you get that back. It's postage paid return envelope. Just put it right in the envelope and send it out. And you can track your ballot at onvote.net. If you've requested an absentee ballot, or if you have mailed an absentee ballot back, you can see whether we've mailed it to you yet and whether we've received it back yet at onvote.net. So check that out. It's it's a lot of mail coming back, but that means less people at the polls. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was voter registration. Again, October 26th, that day is like a super day. It is the last day to register. It's the last day to apply for an absentee, and it's the first day of early voting. There's so much going on October 26th. So if you aren't registered, there's a thing called Golden Day. Of course, you should not wait. Register now. You can register through 3 ways: online at onvote.net, through your MyDMV account, or through a paper form, put it in the mail, or drop it off in person here at the Board of Elections. All of those ways are good, but we have to receive your registration by October 26th. So what does that mean? Well, the online registration is through our website, onvote.net. So if you do it by midnight that day, you're fine. If you drop off a form by October 26th, or we'll receive it in the mail by October 26th, it's fine. Postmark is no good. It has to be in our hands by October 26th. And the tricky thing is MyDMV, or the DMV electronic system. If you do that, you actually have to do that on October 25th, because they transmit it to us the next day. And so thus, we have to have it received by October 26th. So that means you got to do it on October 25th. We'll talk about that a little bit more next week as we get very close to that deadline. But that is registration. But there is one last thing to talk about with registration, and that's Golden Day. Golden Day is a day where you can go to any of the early voting sites in Onondaga County, or if you live in another county, you're watching this, go to your county's early voting sites, and you can vote by affidavit ballot. Affidavit is a ballot that you get. You have to put it in an envelope. You fill out a voter registration form on the envelope. We then research it and make sure that you're either registered to vote or that you have properly filed it on Golden Day on October 26th, and we will register you and count your ballot. Other reasons why you have to use an affidavit ballot are if you moved and you had a different address in the poll book, you can still vote, but you got to vote by affidavit ballot, so we can make sure that we research it and get it done, and you get the proper ballot. So that's another reason why you do affidavit ballot. So October 26th is a big day. Vote by mail. To be guaranteed for us to mail you out a ballot, you have to have that application into us by midnight on October 26th. Voter registration. Last day to register to vote, October 26th. You have to have that registration into us by October 26th. And then, of course, first day of early voting, 10 sites throughout Onondaga County, 9 to 5. Early voting starts next week. Next week's show will be all about early voting. This week's show was about getting you all of the pertinent dates that are coming up over the next 3 weeks, so you can go out and be part of this very important November election. Well, that's it for now. I'm kind of tired. Been here since 7 a.m. And the Board of Election staff is still working very hard. Just because we're caught up doesn't mean we're not doing a lot of overtime. We're doing it because we want to stay caught up, because we know how important it is to stay caught up at this juncture, because a lot of things are going on, and we know that a lot of you want to get your information and make sure that you're prepared for this big election, and we're dedicated to getting that done. I'm honored to work with all of these incredible election heroes at the board, and I'm honored to do the position that I do. So thank you. Next week's Commissioner Carr, again, I do no other content now because I'm just too busy. I don't have time to write a weekly wonk or do my Zoom and Zarnies. Those are done for the election cycle. They'll come back after November. So my next week's contact will be next Wednesday, when I once again talk about early voting. Thank you again. Enjoy your day. Go to DustinZarny.com. You can subscribe and get any information you need regarding content or election news as well. Thank you again, and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.